Hi, this is Ross from VSM. In this video, we're going to be covering off how to monitor and manage your media resources. Of course, these are a really important aspect of your UC or your contact center implementation. They're known as different names, so they might be referred to as VoIPs inside a media gateway, media resources, MedPros within the port networks. But under the covers, they all come down to being the same thing. So they're media resources, DSPs, digital signal processors. They sit there and convert TDM type formatted data into a format that can be transmitted across your IP network. So a real fundamental underlying resource that everyone needs. And some really weird things can happen if you run out of these resources. So for example, some of the symptoms will be a contact center manager says, I have agents with the correct skill that are available in available state, and I can see calls queued for that skill. You know, what's going on there. You might have a senior exec that comes back to you and says, I was expecting a really important phone call and I got a voicemail message and my phone didn't ring. I was waiting for it to ring and it didn't ring. You know, you check it out, the phone's not on send calls. You know, how did that happen or why did that happen? You can get agents that complain that they don't get whispers from time to time. So the VDN of origin announcement doesn't play. Or the other thing is you can get unified comms users, a general user trying to set up a conference. When they're adding another member to that conference, the conference fails. So really, really hard things to pin down. And even worse, maybe you're not even told about it at all and you're affecting the customer experience, the contact center is inefficient. So, you know, really does need an area that does need proactive management. So a couple of areas where you can see that in VSM. So one is in the Capacity Manager under Reports and Summary. So down here we have the IP Telephony Media Summary Report. And also in the Detailed Report, the same thing, so IP Telephony Media. So the summary will obviously give you a summary looking at all the resources at once, and I've pre-run that over here. So on a per network region, we can see the network regions down here on the left-hand side down through here. On a per network region, we see the peak percentage used. So at Penrose, for example, very lightly used, only 11%. Then we look at Manukau and that's 60%. So the reason we express this as a percentage is that different devices will have different amounts of media resource in them. So a small media gateway may only have 10 VoIPs and a large port network could have hundreds or even thousands of DSP resources by way of media resources or MedPros. So we express this in a percentage term. And it gives you the peak usage that was encountered during the reporting period. So I ran the last month up there. And over the last month, the peak that ever happened was 60% usage at these various sites here. And the minimum was there at Penrose. So this gives us the ability to move media resources around if we need to. So provided they're compatible, we could potentially take some media resources from Penrose and move them into other sites without having to purchase new equipment, which of course is an expensive and it takes up time and energy and service work as well to get these implemented. So this gives us the intelligence to make those decisions around those purchases. You know, and it may be a matter of juggling other resources around as well. So that's one view. That's your capacity summary view. If you want to look in detail and start to forecast, you know, maybe some of these sites here that are running at 60%, forecast over time exactly if they're growing or shrinking. So are we going to need to add additional resources sometime in the near future? You might want to do that for budgeting purposes, and that's where the detail report comes in. So the detail report tells you a couple of things. It tells you exactly how many resources you have. So in that particular site there, in the Albert Street site, we have 384 resources, and when we take our peak traffic across to the right-hand side, we can see that we're using about 75 there at peak. So there is plenty of headroom for growth at that site. And run over a longer period of time, of course, we can trend that information. Maybe you want to even drop that out to Excel. We can do that using a CSV export up there. And in regards to being told about this proactively, under the Capacity Manager, under the threshold side here, Of course, if we run into a capacity issue, we can be notified of that automatically. So these DSPs are a really important part of your overall architecture, and really need to be managed properly and provide you with proper visibility to ensure that that really good customer experience. This is Ross from Versailles signing out. As usual, any of your ideas, thoughts, feedback, please send that through to support@versailles.com. We love to hear your feedback. Thanks.